Hey, my name is Kelly Kessler. I'm the host of the podcast Rewiring Health, and I'm obsessed with helping you stop feeling burnout, living in pain, and anxious about the future. You see, for years, I felt like I was never good enough. I repeated in my head, when I accomplish this, then I'll finally be happy. And even when I accomplished it, there was always emptiness in my heart. I always put others' needs before my own. Negative thoughts ran wild in my head, and I always struggled to truly feel like I could relax and be present. Well, through my journey of healing, rewiring my brain, regulating my nervous system, and reprogramming my subconscious mind, I have recovered from an eating disorder, I have healed from chronic back pain, and I can truly be present with my two boys and feel that I am living the life I was destined to live with purpose and with joy. And I'm here to guide you along the same journey of healing. Hey, thanks for listening to this episode. When I struggled with feeling like I was never enough and attached my worth to my accomplishments, I didn't know where to begin. And the last thing I wanted as a high achiever and a perfectionist was someone telling me I need to overhaul my life because I already felt overwhelmed. So that's why I created this free daily checklist to get your nervous system back on track and start feeling free in your mind and body and stop feeling burnout. Grab it in the link below and enjoy. Back in college and even before college, my expectation for myself was that everything would be perfect, that I would push myself to whatever point I needed to achieve the straight A's, to be the best on my athletic team, to be the best in everything that I did. And what people saw on the outside was this really hardworking person who was striving for excellence. And I was praised for it. I was praised for the discipline I displayed. I was praised for the determination, for the structure in my life, for everything just being so that I could pursue these higher goals. But what people didn't see was the inner turmoil and the cost of all that. And it was a very polarizing place to be, in that you feel like you have to show this perfect side of yourself to the world, and that everything is just put together so nicely, and that it just almost feels natural and it flows, that you can get straight A's and that you can be excellent in everything you do. But people don't see what it costs you internally. And at that time, I was struggling. It was that constant battle of striving for excellence, getting the A, and then just never feeling like a hit, or getting the starting position on the team and just never feeling like a hit. And there was always this negative self-talk that I had to keep, because I felt like if I didn't talk to myself negatively, I would kind of let my guard down and things would spiral out of control. It was that super fixated persona that I had to be in control of every aspect of my life. And for anyone who's experienced this, if you're listening to this right now and you're like, I feel like that, you know how draining that is. It is such a hard place to be in when you feel like you have to keep every aspect of your life in a perfect order, and that you have to show to the world that everything is okay, everything's going well. But meanwhile, you feel like you're just struggling in every aspect of your life. You feel like you can't really show up to any social events and be yourself. You feel like you are constantly failing, even though you're getting good grades. You feel like you're pushing yourself so hard, but then criticizing yourself for everything you're doing, or comparing yourself to the next person and comparing what they look like to what you look like. And you're stuck in this just inner battle all the time of just putting on a show. It almost feels like a show, that you're putting on this really perfect persona to the world, that you're a high achiever, you're trying to do the best you can do and everything you do, and everything just seems like it's easy for people who are watching it. But for yourself, you know that what it's costing you. And at the time when I was going through college, I remember this one time. I mean, I was, again, striving for excellence in every aspect of my life. And I had a project that I was working on and I wanted to make it the best. And I had pulled an all-nighter. I worked all night writing this paper, trying to scrutinize every little detail and make sure it was perfect. And I finally got to like 6 a.m., submitted it. and I was done with that. But what many people may have done at that point, like, okay, I'm going to go rest. I worked hard. I'm going to go rest. What I did at that time was I went for a run around campus and I ran for about 6 miles after that. And that was part of that high achieving, like nothing was good enough. I'm going to keep going because this is who I am. I don't let myself rest. And it's exhausting. You know, when you pull an all-nighter, you're already exhausted. You're mentally exhausted, but you have such a strict expectation for yourself that now you have to go run after this because that's another part of your life that you have to keep juggling. And it almost feels like you're just juggling like 10 different balls and you don't want one to drop and you have to be so perfect for one not to drop. And this all has a cost. And that's what I've realized now, how much I paid back then to keep all that going. And at the time I didn't see it. I just gave myself no grace. And I said, you know, the harder I went on myself, the more negative I went on myself. I felt like the more control I had, that I would just never let the ball drop on anything. But again, now I realize what that cost me. It cost me nights of stress, sleepless nights, feeling like I was just perseverating on every little detail of everything. It cost me social interactions. So I would limit myself from going to do fun things because I had to keep this going. I had to keep everything that I had going. And I didn't have time to just kind of be free and let myself enjoy a moment. It cost me pain. I was literally in physical pain from this. It cost me my skin was not good back then. And I realized that now that was all interconnected too. I was dealing with blemishes and acne, and it was awful. And I didn't even realize that it was all related to the lack of grace and care that I showed myself in that time, because it was more important to be perfect and more important to have this high standard be held than it was for me to just take care of myself and listen to what my body was telling me. And this is what I want to talk about today, because I think this happens to so many people. We get stuck in this rut of like having this persona that we have to keep up, having this image that people have of us. And we feel like we're on this like rat race of keeping up this persona, but yet we're struggling inside. And I've learned, I mean, it's taken me many years from that point when I was in college, and even grad school, I did the same thing. And even when I went and got my doctorate, continued on with the same mental mindset that I'm going to just keep pushing myself, and that I'm a machine. I'm not a human. I don't need to give myself grace because I have to push myself harder and harder. But now realizing the price I paid, and now realizing the other side of it, that when you do give yourself a moment of pause, you do give yourself space, you do give yourself care and compassion, that life is just so much more enjoyable. And I just wish that I realized that then. And that's why I want to share this message today for anyone who is listening to this, who is in college right now, and you feel like you're just trying to keep up with every single standard that you have for yourself, or maybe other people have for you, and you're struggling. This message is for you, that there are steps you can take to give yourself that pause, and that it is so important to give yourself compassion, give yourself grace. And if you feel like you're trying to maintain this standard of what you're showing the outside world to what you are experiencing internally, that this is the moment to hear this message and hopefully think about it a little differently. So if I could speak to my younger self when I was back then and realize that I was not giving myself any grace or compassion, I would have just started with like, give yourself 5 minutes a day. Because I know at that point, like I felt like I almost didn't want to give that up, because it was a sense of control. So it's not so much to say, just flip the switch and think differently. That does not work. But give yourself 5 minutes a day to just sit and write out what you're feeling. Write out every single thing without judgment, and just write that out. And there's a lot of benefit to getting it on paper, because we can see it more objectively, and we can remove ourselves from it a little bit. Because when we're sitting in this mindset of feeling like we're not good enough, trying to search for our self-worth through accomplishments, we get stuck into this pattern, and it's hard to break free from that. So just give yourself 5 minutes to literally write out every single thing that's in your head, what you're experiencing without judgment. Do not judge yourself for that. Just allow it to flow onto the paper and just let it be. I would have also taken a moment to just get in touch with my breath. So recognize, what is my breath telling me? Is it shallow? Do I feel like I can never catch my breath? Do I always feel just anxious and tense? Like, what is your body telling you? What are the messages that your body and your brain and your mind and everything is telling you? And just give that and honor that for a moment. So I would just get in touch with my breath and just feel that. So allow yourself to take a deep breath and just sit and be conscious of your breath just for 5 minutes. Allow yourself that gift. And then the third thing I would do would be to allow myself to just sit and be present. And I know that is so hard because that is extremely hard. Back then, that would have been a struggle. But again, what we can do is just tap into our senses. And I didn't have the tools back then of what I know now. And so now I would tell myself, go outside, sit outside, don't go exercise or do anything. Don't be on your phone, just sit outside for a moment and get in touch with, how does the pressure feel on the ground with you sitting there? The pressure on your heels, your butt, whatever you feel, just notice what's going on in your body. Again, notice your breath. Notice the breeze maybe you feel on your face, the sun coming and warming up your face. Notice the scents that you're smelling in that moment, and just give yourself 5 minutes to do that. And it may not seem like it's going to do anything for you when, the rest of your day, you're still in this mindset, but those tiny little things that you do to serve yourself in that moment is everything. And it's everything, whether you're a college student and it's everything, whether you're a mom that's struggling with multiple kids and trying to balance a job and trying to keep a house tidy. It's everything. Those little moments are literally your make or break. And giving yourself that gift of just 5 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever you can give yourself that day, is literally a game changer. So again, I just wanted to share my message because I remember being in that place where I was struggling so hard and feeling like I was on a treadmill that I couldn't keep up with, and trying to feel like I was enough, and trying to fill my heart and fill this void that I constantly felt with the next accomplishment, the next degree, the next certification, whatever it was. I felt like I would always feel whole, or try to feel whole, by doing the best I could. And yet I just constantly felt empty inside, regardless of how well I did. Anyone on the outside that would look at my life would be like, oh, she's got she's got everything together. But if you're listening to this, if you are feeling that emptiness, regardless of every accomplishment that you achieve, that there's something missing, and no accomplishment will fill that void. And that's what I've come to realize, that we have to take a moment to kind of fill our heart, be grateful for what we have, and experience joy, and give ourselves a moment just to tap in and honor everything that is authentically us, and recognize that we can't suppress some of the emotions that we're feeling by maintaining this kind of outside appearance. We have to just honor everything that we are experiencing. So I hope that helps to just change a little bit and just help you move forward in the smallest step possible, because that's everything. Just taking one step forward is what we need to focus on. It's not about overhauling our life at this point. It's just taking the smallest step forward to honor yourself, give yourself grace, and show yourself a little bit of compassion, so that you can start enjoying life and not feeling like you just have to maintain this standard for yourself. So if you found benefit in this, please share it with someone else who would also benefit from it, because there are so many people who need this message. And I was one of them. For sure, for so many years, that if someone had just told me that it's okay not to be perfect, it's okay to not always be the best in everything, and that no matter what accomplishment that you achieve, it won't always fill that void when you are not working on your inside and your internal harmony. So again, share this with anyone you think would benefit from it. And thank you so much for spending your precious time with me.
Thank you for spending your precious time to listen to this episode of Rewiring Health. My mission is to inspire hope and healing through science-backed practices. If you found value in this, please share with 3 people and leave a review. By doing so, this message can be spread to those who need to hear it most. Also, to get updates on the most recent episodes, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for being part of this community, and I am forever grateful for you.